Hi, this is Razor Wire, and this is your daily twin flame reading. I'm doing a podcast again because my webcam has died on my computer. So for today's reading, we're going to be using the Good Tarot, the Journey of Love Oracle, and I have a custom deck of messages which I plan on using. So first we're going to start with the Divine Feminine. Things are falling on the floor. Okay, let's see what we get. Oh, all right, so let's find out. So for the Divine Feminine, we have the King of Air. And what I'm getting from this today is that the King of Air can signify overthinking. So you might be overthinking things. You might be questioning the journey. You know, when is it going to happen? Why hasn't it happened yet? You know, do they feel the same way about me as I feel about them? Is this real? You know, so to me, it seems like you're kind of stuck in a pattern of overthinking. It's kind of stuck in the ego, in the brain energy, because the King of Wands is, you know, very analytical, very rational, almost coldly so, you know, so he doesn't always consider, you know, what's going on in his heart space. He's a little bit guarded in that respect. And then we've got the Queen of Earth, and that is an indication that you need to ground yourself a little, that you need to get out, you need to connect with nature, you need to take some time and nurture yourself a little bit, you know, get yourself, you know, grounded. Meditation might be good for you right now because it's suggesting that you're like overthinking. So I have a feeling that you kind of need to just still your mind a little bit, you know, focus on your breathing, allow the emotions to come up without feeding into the story. And then we've got the Six of Water. And in the Good Tarot, it depicts a woman who is pining, who's kind of sitting by this stream looking at her reflection, and she looks to be in despair. So this is actually one of the sadder cards in the Good Tarot, whereas usually it's kind of childhood and joy. But this one I see is sadness. You're really missing your twin. You're really missing that connection. You may be holding onto things that have happened between you in the past, feeling that whatever happened between you in the past may be preventing you from having a future together. You know, mistakes might have been made. They may have said some things to you like it's never going to happen, or you may have tried to have a certain type of relationship with them, like you wanted a romantic connection, but they said they didn't think about you that way, or they wanted to keep things, you know, no strings attached, or whatever. And it seems like you're kind of holding on to that negativity, like you're holding on to what happened in the past. And you might also be holding on to some, you know, older traumas, you know, traumas from childhood, for example. If you were told that, you know, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough. If you were bullied in school and you know, it really hurt your self-esteem. So it seems like you could be like really holding on to these things and kind of limiting yourself and the connection, saying, well, it can't develop into what it's supposed to be because I'm not good enough for it, I'm not worthy, or because these things happened and now it's been spoiled. Well, the connection cannot be destroyed, okay? It can't be. So, you know, and you are good enough, and it's something I think you need to repeat to yourself. I am good enough. I am safe. I am worthy of love. I think those are some things that you might need to say to yourself over and over again today, so that you can let go and forgive the past and understand that those mistakes were not actually mistakes. They were lessons. They were things that needed to come in and happen to grow you, to make you into who you are now. Yeah, and then we've got the Messenger of Air. And the Messenger of Air in this deck is about patterns and paradigms and beliefs. Okay, so these are things that you're stuck in your ways. Do you know what I mean? It's like the negative self-talk that you just can't seem to let go of. You know, the kind of messages that you bought into, like if you had an abusive childhood, or if you were bullied, or if you were in a bad relationship at some point, and someone kind of was tearing you down, you were kind of repeating what they said to you, in your mind over and over again. And you need to release that. And then we've got the Ace of Earth here, and the Ace of Earth is saying that you are safe. And this is again confirmation that you need to get grounded. You need to recognize your own power. You have the power to change things. This is a card of new beginnings and new opportunities coming in. Okay, so you have the ability to transform your life. If you're not feeling great today, if you're in a really bad headspace, you have the ability to transform that into something better. I mean, you are responsible for your own happiness, and that's a good thing, because that means that at any time you can change how you feel and the situation. And this card also depicts the stag, and a lot of readers that I listen to say that the stag is the promise of union. It's that promise, that your masculine is going to come forward to you, and they're going to come forward to you, when they are ready, when they are the best versions of themselves. So kind of the stag makes you think of the emperor energy, and a lot of times the emperor in the tarot is depicted as having stag horns. And then we've got the Ten of Air, okay, and the Ten of Air is all about surrender, right? Letting go, allowing things to happen. Obviously the Ten of Air is a lot of pain. It's a lot of, it's that stuck energy. It's that not wanting to compromise. It's that holding on really tight to negative self-beliefs. It's that holding on really tight to, certain outcomes. Like you want things to happen in a certain way, and if it doesn't happen that way, then you almost can't even see the opportunities in front of you, because it has to happen in a very specific way in order for you to understand. So it's about letting go of all of that. So it looks like feminine, you have a lot of releasing to do, and it may just mean that you need to have a good cry and just let that out. Let out those emotions, let them pass. Now we're going to get a message to you, feminine, from your masculine. What would your masculine like to say? And I guess there's a good reason I used the good tarot, because it sounds like the feminine is going through a difficult time. And then one of the cards fell on the floor. So the card that fell on the floor is I need you. So your masculine is saying, I need you too. I miss you. I want you in my life. I really care about this connection. This connection is important to me, and there's no way I'm going to live without you in my life. I will come forward. Yep. And then the next one, I promise to reach out to you in the 3D. Okay, so your masculine is going to come forward to you. It might not seem like it right now. In fact, it might seem absolutely impossible right now. But in time, when they're ready, they will come forward, because they need you in their life. And please be patient with me. So it could take a while, but you need to be patient and know and trust that it is going to happen. And then we've got, I'm making room for you in my life. Okay, so they're preparing for this connection. They're doing the work that they need to do. If they're in a karmic situation that's, ending, if they need to feel like they need to find a job or a stable place to live, or if they have addictions, they're working on all of these things so that they can make space for you in their life, so that they won't give you less than you deserve. Okay, so let's put that back, and then I'm going to put them all back, so then if the same cards want to come out, they'll have, throw them in there. And now we're going to do the divine masculine. So what do we need to know for the divine masculine today? Ooh, one of them just snuck out there when I was shuffling. Let's see. Okay, And the one that kind of flipped out by itself was the Three of Water. And that is the card of reunion, coming together, joy, friendship. Okay, so they're missing that connection, that they're missing that friendship. You know, they might actually be thinking about you too today, but instead of thinking about everything that went wrong, they might be thinking about everything that went right and everything that they would like to do with you in the future to celebrate. And then we've got the messenger of earth, which is the Knight of Pentacles, which is for eventual positive outcomes. This is more confirmation that your masculine is hard at work right now, that they're loyal to the connection, that they're loyal to you, and that they're dedicated to you. And they will always choose you. Even if they're currently with a karmic person, you know, that person can never be to them what you are. And they will not choose that person in the long run. You know, eventually that relationship, once it's served its purpose, once it's healed them, you know, or taught them the lessons that it needs to teach them, you know, they are going to move on and they are going to come towards you. And then we've got the Nine of Air, and this one is about releasing negative self-talk, releasing that, you know, self-pitying energy, that, oh, woe is me kind of thinking, that they're not good enough, that they're not worthy enough. So they're starting to release that negativity. And then we've got the Five of Air here, Five of Fire. And in this card, this is about non-conformity. It's about authenticity, about thinking outside of the box. It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone. So, you know, in the past, your masculine may have been listening to the opinions of friends and family. They may have been very concerned about how society would view them. They may have been, you know, kind of in the matrix, basically, you know, just kind of in that ego energy, you know, not thinking too much about what would make them happy, or, you know, what they want, or their own spiritual development or emotional development. They were just kind of going through the motions of life, doing what they thought they were supposed to do in order to be successful or to fit in. But they're starting to think outside of the box. They're starting to look at things differently, and they're starting to think about, you know, their own happiness and what they want. And what they want, of course, is you. And then we've got the Five of Water, and this is about releasing grief. This is about forgiveness. So they're learning to forgive themselves for the mistakes they've made, for hurting you. You know, they're learning to express their emotions, to feel their emotions instead of, you know, distracting themselves. And they got the Ten of Air, just as we had. So they're also learning to surrender, just like you, feminine. They're learning to compromise. They're learning to not overthink it, to just go with their heart and their instincts. And then we've got the Hierophant here. So they may be seeking divine guidance at this point, or they may be seeking a more spiritual path, or they may be seeking the counsel of a more open-minded or trusted friend. You know, so they may have someone who they actually do trust who can offer them better advice, somebody who is a lot more compassionate and empathetic of a listener. Could even be you that they seek the advice from. But this card can also signify restraints, you know, certain values, societal values or religious values, which have been in the past kind of holding them down. And they're starting to, you know, break through those chains. But it's difficult, as you know. It's difficult. And what would you like to say to your divine masculine today? How would you like to respond to what they've said to you? Okay. Let's see if there's anything else coming out. So we've got, you're my sanctuary, which means, you know, you feel at home together. You are within each other. You are each other. So you feel safe when you're together. It's going to be okay. Trust me. So that's sweet. You're reassuring them that everything is going to work out. everything is going to be okay. And this is for you too, Divine Feminine. Everything is going to be okay, even if it doesn't seem like that right now. Give me a sign. So you're hoping that your masculine is going to reach out to you in some way to send you some sort of confirmation or reassurance, because you're feeling, as we saw earlier, a little bit lost, a little bit confused about everything. And I miss you. You're missing them. You're wanting to connect with them. You might be feeling a little overwhelmed by everything today. All right. Last but not least, we're going to do the journey. I'm going to throw these cards back in. And I like to put them in all over. So you're both in a somewhat similar energy. But it seems like the masculine is like trying. They're starting to see things a bit more positively. All right, so for the journey, we have a couple cards to take. All right, so for the journey, we've got the Messenger of Air again. So you're both releasing these old patterns, this negative thinking, these old ways of being. You may be releasing the past. If you had a relationship in the past, you may be releasing that so that things can start fresh and new, kind of clearing the slate. And then you've got the Page of Air. And the Page of Air, in this particular tarot, it looks like surrender. She's dressed all in white, she has angel wings, and she's reaching up to heaven. So you are learning to open up your mind, okay? So this is about opening your mind to the possibilities, about being curious about your own life. It's kind of like when you recover from depression after you've been depressed for a long time, and you start to kind of wake up again. You start to take pleasure in things again. You start to, experience everything almost as if it were new. When you've been depressed a long time, you kind of start to get in this place of like numbness, where you're almost kind of like dead inside and nothing kind of brings you any pleasure. This is like when you wake up from that, and suddenly everything that you touch and everything that you do is like, you're just, it's so, I don't know how to explain this, but it's, all your senses come back online. Do you know what I mean? Like you wake up, you're like present, you're in the moment, and you want to know what happens next. Why is this happening? Why is it like this? But it's more of an open-mindedness. It's you're not judging it. You just genuinely want to know. And then we've got the Eight of Water here. So you're moving away from the 3D, the superficial, and you're moving towards your higher spiritual calling. You're leaving behind relationships and beliefs and things that don't serve you anymore, and moving towards your destiny. And then we've got the Call, and the Call is the Judgment card, and it depicts an angel blowing a horn, so it makes you think that you might be hearing music, signs of music. But it's about forgiveness, it's about resurrection. So kind of being reborn. Like I said, with the depression, you're kind of waking up again. You're starting to see things as if for the first time, but it's also about your spiritual calling. It's about, your souls are being called back together, that you're feeling each other. Then we've got the Eight of Earth, and the Eight of Earth is about mastery, hard work, soul purpose, It's about, focusing your energies, being present, taking on them, because we're both students and teachers in our lives, but, no matter how much self-work you do, no matter how much you know on a subject, there's always more to learn. So it's kind of keeping that open mind, that beginner's mindset, and just, taking pleasure in the things that you create and the things that you discover about yourself and about whatever it is that you're working on. And then we've got the Hanged Man, and the Hanged Man is about surrender and sacrifice. It's about gaining in flexibility. It's about, the opening of the crown chakra and the third eye chakra. It's about, observing things without passing judgments and observing them from a different perspective, taking a different angle on things. And then we've got, last but not least, the Page of Fire, which is about adventure, good news, passion, inspiration. So if you've been feeling kind of low and depressed and, maybe even a bit numb, it's showing you that, the fire is returning. It's coming back. You're going to feel inspired again. Things are going to heat up before you even know it. And for the journey, we're going to pull a Journey of Love Oracle, and I'm going to read that to you. So this is for the journey. All right, and we've got Falling. And I had that one myself today, actually. So, my own. Falling. Don't worry. You may fear you are falling, but it's just your soul diving deeper into the ocean of bliss. Are you sensing parts of your life flying away from you, out of your control? As the moments of your divine surrender take over and become more powerful than the old adhesive between you and what no longer serves. Laugh, cry, celebrate, and ponder. Whether it makes sense or not, you are like a perfectly ripe fruit falling from the universal tree, succulent and ready to be enjoyed for all that you are. If you wait any longer, the moment will be lost and you'll end up on the ground, having to decay and go to seed in order to start the whole process again. This is not so bad, but what a shame if your sweet nectar was not to be savored by a hungry world. You deserve to be declared the most delicious, juicy fruit that ever was. So fall. You'll end up exactly where you are meant to be. This oracle contains a message for you. You are being called closer into divine union and into fulfillment of your destiny. It's safe for you to trust what is happening. Go with it. It might seem like you are being asked to take a leap of faith. It's the right time for that. It's your time to give yourself in love without holding back anything of yourself. Okay, so don't hold back. The time. Don't let those old worries and fears and doubts and the triumphs and failings of your life previously hold you back from the now. Be present in your own life. Enjoy your own life. Be yourself. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.